Hey dudes, I'm back again with another React Fiber video. And the last time, I don't really remember what was the thing last time. Yeah, the create element. So we were talking about the create element, which is what Babel does. It transforms our JSX to function calls basically. And these function calls will produce React elements. Okay, so since then I created a README. I did some to-dos there which I need to let to do. Some of them doesn't really make any sense now, but will later on it will make. So refactor the demo app is like the request idle callback. I want to do some refactoring on that. Mock some basic React event handling. It will make sense later on because when I start doing the actual fiber related code, I'm not gonna use anything similar to what React uses. I mean, I have no idea how the React event handling works in detail, but I know enough that it doesn't work like what I'm gonna do. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm not gonna do into anything that's implemented under the hood in React. And also I'm just gonna refactor the create element function later on, but these are not really important stuff. So what I wanna do, I just wanna brainstorm some ideas before we get into the really hard stuff. So all we did is we tested with this console log if Babel transpires div the JSX to actual React elements, and as we see there, if I just refresh it, it does, because you can get the type, the props and everything there, so it's good. Now what I want to do is so yeah, just one more thing. So there's a fine line between React and React DOM, right? So why I'm saying that is because we are working with DOM elements, but there is a line where React reconciliation creates the fiber, which we'll see this is the basic thing under React that stores all the data that is related to our application, and then React DOM takes over when it comes to actual painting, or if you're using React Native, then the React Native renderer comes over. But I'm not gonna make a clear distinction in much of the cases here, but obviously when we are executing the stuff that the actual reconciliation algorithm created in form of the effects, that is definitely the React DOM. And anyways, when we got to the end, I think it's gonna be quite clear where React ends and React DOM starts. By the way, I don't know when this separation came into place, but I remember that wasn't a separate package all the time. But yeah, that's the power of it, right? So you can write React anywhere, and then, I mean, not anywhere, but you can write React somewhat independently of the underlying renderer. So you can write a renderer to either DOM or native, or either, I think there is VR, I'm not sure. I only using the DOM and the native extensively, so that's the only two things I know. Okay, so enough of that. Let's just focus on the browser environment. So in browser we've got the DOM. So we have a basic HTML structure which is returned by the server. So we have this template, and every time we hit basically any route, this rendering server gives us back the template, which reaches the bundle.js and loads the JavaScript. Later on, we want that the JavaScript bundle would take over the whole HTML, as it happens in a purely client-side rendered app. Like it's somewhat the same in the server-side rendering, but there is the prehydration there, but we definitely not want to overcomplicate things. Okay, so we have this thing, and just to be sure, I can do something. So I can have the root element by using document get element by ID. So we have this root element here, and I can reach to that. So if you used React before, you know that the API is something like that, that you got the React DOM render, and there you put some JSX, and then you put a DOM element where it's gonna be rendered. So React as a JavaScript stuff will control everything in that document, but we don't have any of this, so just strict with root. So I can console log this thing out, right? Yeah, here it is. So we have a div element. Okay, that's good. So the next thing that what we will eventually end up with is so React is purely JavaScript, right? So anything that you wanna paint on the browser, you're not gonna write HTML. So everything is gonna be handled by JavaScript. So what can we do if we wanna, for example, render this? If we wanna render it to the page, what we can do is we can get the const div, which can be document create element, and I think it's simply div, and we can have const text, and I think it's document create text element. I think text create text. Jeez, dude, create text node, maybe. Yeah, let's have a look. Let's see. Okay, so what I can do is I can root append child div, but before that I would do I'm not sure what I should do. Can I do div dot append child text is not defined. Sorry. Yep, okay, yeah, we got it. So now we kind of recreated that JSX, right? What we have here is recreated by pure JavaScript, so it's not like we wrote the HTML. So it's pretty devious, like if you just do simple stuff like this, but eventually that's what we want to do. So all of these is gonna be hidden as an implementation. They are all can be considered, if you get back to one of the previous videos, they are all like side effects, because we are either reading or mutating in DOM, which is outside of our scope. But eventually these are going to be handled by React, as we talked about. React's genius is that it provides a declarative API where we can return things based on props, and the side effects are delayed to a point where it's not our responsibility, which is a genius idea. Yeah, so that's what we basically wanna achieve, and we have React elements, which, as we can see here, has type and props. So yeah, we wanna create, basically we wanna generalize this element creation in such a way that if we can just call a function basically with React elements, or not necessarily React elements, because as you remember, we talked in some of the earlier videos, you have React elements, then we will have from React element we will create fiber, which is the main structure of the reconciliation algorithm, and based on the fiber, the algorithm will somehow, based on some logic, will determine what effect it need to do. So we will have the effects of the fiber, and these effects will be sent to some renderer. In our case, imagine that we use React DOM, which is basically using the document API. So it takes the effects and paints whatever needs to be painted on the DOM. So eventually, when we get to a point where you're not rendering but you're painting, so remember there is a rendering phase and a painting phase. A lot of things, most of the things happening on the render phase, but tons of things happening on the painting phase, as we will say. We will not be using elements, but instead fibers, because fiber has way more information in it. So what we want to end up with is some function like const create element, for example, or create DOM element, to be more precise, DOM element, which can take a fiber in and can do its side effect things. So like just imagine that you have this, and in the end you will end up a side effect which eventually creates something in the DOM, and it's completely hidden. Obviously, we know it's completely hidden because as a React developer you rarely have to interact with the DOM. You can do that, that's what ref's for, but you don't most of the time. I mean, it depends on what application you're doing. I mean, if you're doing a component library, you will much more see yourself doing some ref or we can say DOM manipulation than if you are some dude who is responsible for the business logic part. Because if you just imagine that if you're using Redux or you're using whatever GraphQL, then you probably never ever using direct DOM manipulation. Okay, that's just a bit of I got sidetracked. Yeah, so that's it. So that's the thing that we want to end up with. So how can we do that? Well, basically, as we said earlier, the fiber data structure as such. So let's just make some sketch. As we said, that it definitely has a bunch of attributes, but it just copies over some attributes from the element, the React element. And one of them is type, and one of them is props. So these are the exact same thing as we have on the element. So it has the type and it has the props. And for now, let's leave React classes or functions just for now, and let's make things simple and imagine that every React element that you end up with is gonna be representing some DOM native node, like in our case a div. So we can actually come here and copy these things. So the React element in our case is the React element is type div. As we talked about, that if it's string, then it represents a native element, and we have props, and in props you have children, which is an array, and it's a element type text element. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the only exception where you have this text element kind of stuff. Okay, and you have props. Node. What props? Yeah, node value. We've got the text, and we have a children, which in this case is an empty array. So that's the element. Let's console comment this thing out. What am I missing? Children text. Yeah, it's because it's type. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's what we end up with, right? So our JSX, after the create element function gets called, Babel will spit out this. And we will see later on that, as I said, some of the properties of the React element will get copied to the Fiber. So what we want to do is, based on these properties, because they will definitely be on the Fiber, we'd like to be able to create our DOM elements. So what can we do? Create DOM element. What can we do, for example, is okay, so there is one case where it's a text element. Then in the text element we need to create a create text node, right? So it's a special case, and let's assume that every case is like a string, so we are leaving out the classes. So if fiber.type equals text element, right? That's the, if I just come back here, that's better. Oh shit, sorry, language, text element, then we need to do something, otherwise I just gotta put a return statement here because I wanna stop the execution of the function. Good, very good. Okay, so let's continue with the stuff. So if it's text element, do something. If not, do something else, which is I just wanna let element. Let's call it not element. Let's React element. Let element document create element, and we need a create element with a fiber type. So pretty good stuff, right? We have this thingy. Okay. Actually, if you just want to create it, that's it. Okay. But if it's text element, then return. Actually, you can return this because it's not attached to the DOM structure anyway, so it's just a simple object at this point, and if you don't do anything with it, it's gonna get garbage collected. Poor dude. So return document create text node, and in this case you need the fiber props dot node value, right? I suppose. Yeah. So actually, let's try it out, right? We can try it out, I suppose. I don't need these for now. So okay, so let's let text example equals something and let div example equals something. Okay, so I'm gonna call create DOM or something has been imported. Create DOM element with this dude here. Okay. Okay, and the same thing applies to that one, except I type div and props children will be just an array, and I'm gonna console log both of these dudes out. Console log text example, and I'm gonna console log div example out. Okay, nice. As you can see, both of the DOM elements had been created, but none of them were attached to the DOM. So if I come here to the elements, you cannot see these things. So it just simply got garbage collected, created, console logged out, no reference being maintained. So V8 came and destroyed the guys. Yeah, life is struggling for them. Okay, so problem is that we can't really stop here, because we can have props, right? So what if we can have, for example, styles, right? So what if I come here, just for the sake of not simplicity, that's not a good word, but to be able to present my issue in a better way, I want to attach this thing to the DOM. So root append child, and it will append, and also I'm going to div example append child text example and div example. So now they're not gonna get garbage collected, and they are there. Good stuff. So you can see actually here in the HTML. Okay, so what if we do div example dot style dot background, div example style, isn't it there? Div example, that's interesting. Just a sec. Style background, yeah, it's there. Okay, I'm just lazy, sorry about that. The background equals like purple. Nice. So it gets to be purple, but we can't see shit. Oh, we can't see much. So green. Okay, that's not that better, but anyways, you get my point. But you know that you can do something like in React you can do style, you can do the same thing, right? So that somehow magically will get applied. So how can we do that? Because we don't just want to create elements, but we want to create these on the fly. So what needs to be done is we need to do some things, obviously. So let element was, so before we return this boy, we want to do something with it. And for the sake of simplicity, I said that we're not gonna create, at least not now, the React-ish kind of event system. So there are two in the props and normal DOM element, we will differentiate event listeners. We can have styles, and we can have as a prop we will get back from Babel the children. So we can't do anything with the children, so we need to leave the children out. Event listeners are a special case because they are basically functions that you need to attach to different DOM element, to the given DOM element, and yeah, so the styles needs to be applied. So these are the things that needs to be taken care of. So basically you can get props, and now you need to get rid of children, because determining the structure is not happening at the DOM level. It happens at the reconciliation algorithm. So you will have a bunch of React elements in some structure, and it will get translated into a structure of fibers. But when it comes to creating DOM elements, you just want to get rid of the children. You have nothing to do with them. You just want to render or update some DOM element. So get rid of children, apply event listeners, apply styles. So this needs to be done. So how we can do that? So we can do it like you need to get the props basically, but we need to filter them out. So let event listeners be like props. So props is an array, so we can filter them out. And filter, so prop. The event listeners prop starts. That's a string, and the string has a starts with. Okay, starts with on. Prop starts with on. Let's just console log this out, if it works or not. So if I create an event listener here, like on click, just imagine that we receive this, like everything is a prop. So if you define an event listener, that's gonna be a prop. Oh yeah, sorry. Props is not defined. Yeah, because it's fiber props. Fiber props filter is not a function. That's a problem. Why is that so? Yeah, that makes sense actually, right? Because it's an object. Yeah, so we don't have So it's an object, so what we need to do is object, because we don't have runtime things like that, or Lodash or something. So object keys, you need the actual object, which is fiber.props. Then it will return an array of string, which is the fields key names, and then ta-da, you can filter them. Yeah, boy. Okay, it just has nothing on them. Yeah, because I put it to the wrong place. It's here. Nice, so you can see that I've got onClick here. Okay, so yeah, so it's just to rephrase what I've done is I've got an onClick. Imagine that you have this. I mean, you don't even have to imagine. Like, if we go back to the JSX compilation, you can see it in action. You see, props onClick. So you, on the props you get an onClick which is a function. So the event handlers are basically props. And what I did is I just put another prop here, which is an onClick. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the event listeners here because they will be a special case, just as styles. So what we want to do is we want to get the styles, I assume. So that's styles. Same thing, object.keys .fiber.props filter I mean, you might not even need you might even just wanna get rid of the children, because then all you left with is styles, and styles are one-to-one mapping. Let me think. Okay, let's just stick with this now. So event listeners, okay. Let's deal with the styles later on. So we have the event listeners now with onClick. Okay, what we want to do is we want to get rid of the first two. So I suppose it's substring. Is this substring? Yeah, from number. From number is 1. Is it 1? I'm never sure of the indexes. It's 1 or 2. Yeah, sorry, it's map. Now it's 2. Okay, so you got the almost native event name. Okay, you need another map, or you can just modify this function there, and what you want to do is to lowercase. Okay, so now from the React prop you mapped it to native tom prop. And now what we can do is we can create a side effect. So you had the event name, and what I can do is I can do element add event listener with the event name, and the function will be the props. So it's gonna be fiber dot props at yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we can do on like event name that's quite far-fetched, isn't it? Oops. But we need to work on that one a bit. Okay, so what's the easiest way to do that? Let event name to uppercase. Probably there is a much easier way to do these things. These kind of things. Well, if it's gonna work, I'm gonna... What's that? Event listener. Ah yeah, because for each doesn't return anything. That's fine. I'm about even listener event name. Yeah. Okay, it's not attached just right now. Okay, click. Fiber props. Is it odd event listener? Yeah, so event name is right. and the function is finder props on I think it should be right as well. Yeah, I'm not calling it, jeez. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not calling the things. Okay, now it works. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit tired. Yeah, so it's quite ugly, quite complicated, but I think you get the point that filtering out the event listeners, trying to map it to the native name, and add the event listeners here, so everything's get attached there. Yeah, and yeah, I think that's gonna be enough for this video, and with the next one I'm gonna carry on with the styles and the remaining ones. Alright dudes, thanks for watching and see you next time.